Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining me again here on the podcast. Today, we're going to tackle one of the most important and controversial questions in the crypto space right now. Is the number 2 blockchain losing its throne? For nearly a decade, it has been the unquestioned leader in smart contracts, decentralized finance, and Web3 infrastructure. It was the first to bring programmable money to the mainstream, the first to host decentralized exchanges, the first to make non-fungible tokens a household phrase. For years, the gap between it and its competitors seemed unbridgeable, but over the past year, the cracks have started to show. Transaction costs remain high, scaling upgrades are slow, and new challengers are closing the gap fast. So in this deep dive, we're going to explore the full story. We'll trace its rise from humble beginnings in 2015 to the dizzying heights of the DeFi and NFT booms. We'll break down the challenges it faces today, from slow execution to fierce competitors like Solana, Cardano, and Avalanche. We'll look at the role of Layer 2s, the perception of investors and institutions, and how narratives have shifted from inevitability to uncertainty. And we'll map out 3 possible futures: one bullish, one bearish, and one somewhere in the middle. This isn't just about one coin. This is about the infrastructure of the entire crypto economy. Billions of dollars in capital, thousands of developers, and millions of users are all affected by whether this giant can hold on to its crown, or whether it's destined to share the throne with rivals. Let's begin with the history. Back in 2015, Bitcoin had already proven that decentralized money could exist, but it was limited. It could send and receive transactions, but it couldn't run applications. That's where this project came in. It introduced the idea of a blockchain that wasn't just a ledger, but a platform. A place where developers could write programs, where contracts could execute automatically, where finance, art, gaming, and governance could all converge. It was a vision of a decentralized internet, not just a decentralized currency. The early years were experimental. The famous DAO incident in 2016 nearly derailed the project altogether, as a vulnerability was exploited and millions were drained. But the community regrouped. Development continued. By 2017, with the ICO boom, it had found its first killer use case. Startups raised billions by issuing tokens on top of it. It was chaotic, often scammy, but it proved the point. The platform worked, and it could scale global fundraising in a way that had never been done before. Then came 2020 and the DeFi Summer. Decentralized exchanges like Uniswap and lending protocols like Aave took off. Billions flowed into these platforms. Suddenly, anyone with an internet connection could lend, borrow, swap, and earn yield without needing a bank. The number 2 blockchain was the foundation for all of it. Its dominance was absolute. If you wanted to be in DeFi, you were here. 2021 brought the NFT explosion. Digital art, collectibles, and profile pictures minted on the chain sold for millions. Celebrities jumped in. Mainstream brands experimented. The gas fees during that boom reached absurd levels, sometimes hundreds of dollars for a single transaction. But again, it showed demand. People were willing to pay because there was no alternative with the same liquidity and visibility. For years, it seemed unassailable. Developers built here. Investors deployed here. Institutions experimenting with blockchain started here. But the seeds of challenge were already being planted. High fees created frustration. The slow pace of upgrades made critics impatient. Competitors smelled opportunity. Solana emerged as a high-speed, low-cost alternative. Cardano positioned itself as a more academic, methodical project. Avalanche emphasized customization and subnets. Binance Smart Chain leveraged its exchange dominance to capture users. Suddenly, there were real choices. The shift became even clearer in 2022 and 2023. As markets turned bearish, developers began exploring alternatives more seriously. Liquidity fragmented. Solana became the home of many new NFT projects. Avalanche found success with gaming. Cardano kept rolling out upgrades. Even XRP and other older players started gaining renewed relevance as regulation cleared some clouds. Meanwhile, the number 2 blockchain worked on its biggest change yet, the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. This was monumental. It cut energy use by over 99%. It silenced critics who argued the chain was environmentally unsustainable. But for many users, it didn't solve the day-to-day issue: high fees and slow confirmation times compared to rivals. That's where Layer 2 solutions entered the picture. Arbitrum, Optimism, zk-Sync, Base, and others allowed transactions to be processed off-chain and then settled back on the main network. This helped. Users could transact more cheaply, and apps could scale without clogging the base chain. But it added complexity. Instead of one chain to use, there were now dozens of roll-ups and sidechains. For the average user, it was confusing. For the average developer, it was a headache to manage liquidity across so many layers. So here we are today. The smart contract giant is still the leader, but its dominance is under question. Let's break down the challenges one by one. First, fees. Despite progress, they remain high compared to competitors. A swap on a decentralized exchange here might cost $10, while the same swap on Solana costs pennies. For small traders and users in emerging markets, that difference is decisive. Second, speed. The network can handle around 15 to 20 transactions per second. Solana can handle tens of thousands. Avalanche can scale into the thousands with subnets. Even with Layer 2s, the perception is that this chain is slow and clunky. Third, narrative. Once seen as the inevitable platform of the decentralized future, it's now seen as one option among many. Narratives are powerful in crypto. They attract developers, they attract capital, they shape perception. The narrative here has weakened, while Solana in particular has captured the imagination of the market. Fourth, institutional attention. When Bitcoin spot ETFs launched, billions poured in. XRP and Dogecoin now have their own spot products with strong early demand. Solana and Cardano are widely expected to follow under the SEC's new 75-day fast-track rules. The number 2 blockchain does have US futures-based ETFs, but a true spot product is still pending approval. That gap helps explain why, despite being the foundation for DeFi and NFTs, it hasn't been the star of the ETF conversation in 2025. Now let's talk about the competition more deeply. Solana is the most obvious challenger. Its speed and low fees have made it the go-to chain for meme coins, gaming, and increasingly serious DeFi projects. Its developer base is growing fast, its marketing is sharp, and its ecosystem feels vibrant. Even its experiment with a Solana-branded smartphone has captured attention. Cardano takes a slower approach, but its community is loyal, and its development is research-driven. That appeals to institutions that value caution. Its ecosystem is smaller, but committed. Avalanche has focused on customization. Its subnet architecture allows projects to build chains tailored to their needs, while still benefiting from the Avalanche consensus. That's powerful for enterprises looking for bespoke solutions. XRP isn't a direct competitor in smart contracts, but it has gained renewed attention with regulatory clarity and its own ETF. Its focus on payments and settlement keeps it relevant, and in a multi-chain world, relevance is what matters. Even Layer 2s are both a help and a threat. They scale the base chain, but they also create fragmentation. If too much value lives on Layer 2s, the base chain risks becoming less central over time. Now, let's consider the institutional angle. Wall Street has already embraced Bitcoin spot ETFs, with billions flowing in. XRP and Dogecoin now have their own spot funds with record-breaking first-day demand. Solana is widely tipped to be next under the SEC's new fast-track listing rules. The smart contract giant only has futures-based ETFs so far, while spot approval is still pending. That hesitation stems partly from regulatory uncertainty over whether the token could be treated as a security. Complexity also makes it harder to package compared to Bitcoin or XRP. And on top of that, narratives have shifted. Bitcoin is the store of value, Solana is the fast challenger, XRP is the regulated payment coin, while this chain feels caught somewhere in the middle. So what happens next? Let's sketch 3 futures. In the bullish scenario, upgrades finally deliver. Sharding improves scalability. Fees drop dramatically. Layer 2s thrive, but also unify through better bridges, making the experience seamless. Institutions embrace the platform with ETFs and tokenization projects. Developers continue to innovate, building the next wave of killer apps. In this world, the number 2 blockchain reasserts dominance and silences its critics. In the bearish scenario, delays continue, fees remain high. Solana captures the majority of new users. Layer 2s fragment the ecosystem further. Institutions focus on Bitcoin, Solana, and XRP. The once dominant platform becomes just one of many, still important, but no longer the default choice. In the middle scenario, which is probably most realistic, it remains a giant, but shares the throne. It keeps its developer base, its DeFi liquidity, and its institutional experiments. But it no longer enjoys a monopoly on innovation. It coexists with Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, and others in a multi-chain world. Its dominance is reduced, but its relevance endures. So, is it losing its throne? The crown is slipping, but it hasn't fallen. The foundation is strong, but the competition is stronger than ever. The next year will be decisive. If it can deliver on its promises, it will remain at the center of Web3. If not, the throne may soon be shared. That's the deep dive for today. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the smart contract giant can defend its crown, or is Solana ready to take over? Smash like if you're bullish on the future of Web3, follow for the next update, and as always, protect your crypto, secure your holdings with a ledger using the link in the description, and we will see you at the top.